Hey guys, Taylor here. Thank you so much for tuning into my YouTube travel channel where I share my travel vlogs and essential travel tips. Unfortunately, like all of you, we've been socially distancing and isolating ourselves because of the current pandemic, and we've had to cancel 2 of our trips this spring. And I know it sounds kind of stupid and non-important, but it was important to us, so we're kind of sad. But I'm lucky that I had actually shot some footage from a trip that I took last summer to Hawaii. We went to 2 different islands, Maui and Kauai, and while we were on the island of Maui, we did a day hike in Haleakalā National Park. Haleakala means house of the sun, and in Hawaiian folklore, this was actually home to the grandmother of the demigod Maui. For any Disney fans out there, go watch Moana. And it was this grandmother and Maui that actually caught the sun and slowed it down to make the days longer in Hawaii. So while you're at the peak of the volcano, if you're not used to hiking at high altitudes, you are going to be at about 10,000 feet or 3,000 meters. So that's something to consider if you're planning on doing a day hike or even a half a day hike at the summit or in the crater. Haleakala is an active volcano. It hasn't erupted since 1790 and it's currently in a non-eruptive phase. But when you go into the crater, it's actually not a real volcanic crater as it was created through erosion, but within it there are multiple, I think there are like 7 or 8, I'll have to look that up, different craters where there were eruptions. So when you're looking from above into the crater, you can see these smaller mounds, which is really cool. We actually started our day very early because we went to go see the sunrise above the crater and above the clouds. This was one of the most amazing experiences we had while on the island of Maui. You can book a ticket and a reservation for your car 60 days in advance, and you have to do this in order to get a spot. And I think it costs only $1. It's just so that they can limit the amount of reservations. It was just incredible. Like the sunrise itself was incredible, but just looking at the stars and stargazing, you could see the Milky Way so clearly from here. And this was definitely one of the highlights of our trip. You have to arrive before 7 a.m., but because the sun rises usually around 5:30, I think we got there at 4 or 4:30 in the morning. It is very, very cold up there. I had multiple layers on, a windbreaker, my hat, gloves, and there were definitely people that hadn't prepared for the weather. And to stand there with the chilly wind for over an hour and a half or 2 hours can be really brutal if you don't prepare well for the weather. After that, we drove our car back down, parked at a lower level parking space, hitchhike up to the peak, and started our trail there at the Sliding Sands Trail. We then made kind of a loop so that we ended up back down where our car was, but you do start at a higher elevation. You walk down into the crater and then you do have to walk up. It's about 1,000-foot elevation gain, which isn't terrible at all, but because you are at a higher altitude, that definitely makes things a bit harder. Before I get to the travel vlog, I just want to remind you, if you like my videos, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'll have a few more about Hawaii, and I'll also be talking quite a bit the next time about reasons to live in Germany, since I won't be traveling anywhere in the next few months. Great, let's go.
We're just starting the Sliding Sands Trail. We parked down below and we hitchhiked up in the back of a 2-seater Jeep in their trunk. 2 nice Oklahomans, and we're starting about 9:30, so we're hoping to be back in about 7 to 8 hours. Just at the beginning of the trail, you can see the entire crater from here. It's so fantastic. I don't think a video will do it justice. Like, you see all the different colors, there's greens and reds and blacks, and it's just, you see all the smaller craters in the middle, and you see our trail that leads all the way down, which is said to be deceptively easy. finally reached a bit of level ground, which feels kind of good. It's getting quite windy up here. But look at that view. We are officially in the crater, so we've finished our descent for the most part. And we are near some of, the crater is not actually technically a crater because it was made from erosions, not eruptions, but you can see actual craters here where there were volcanic eruptions. I can't remember how many exactly there were, but I'll get back on that. There are silver swords everywhere lining the path, and we are pretty much all alone. We haven't seen anybody in like, 40 minutes. We thought that we were in the crater, but now we keep descending. So I guess that's the bottom. Maybe, hopefully, there's a path. Just stopped for a sandwich break. And then, don't laugh at me. And then, we're going up there and hiking up one of those mounds, one of the craters, and following it up, Halemau'u Trail. Can't pronounce anything here. That's enough. There's another trail that leads out. So the terrain has completely changed now. It's all of this really porous lava rock. It's all black, and we're headed towards this bright red mound crater. It's just crazy how much the terrain changes from just turning around a curve. Over there it's all green and there's birds chirping, and then here it's just completely desolate. So up there you can kind of see where we came from. We're now on top of this big crater, and you've got a huge mountain over in the distance, and you can kind of see the trail where we're going to be heading in that direction where we parked. We're about 2 miles out from Haleakala, the campsite, and then we'll have our final stretch after that of about another 2 miles. But we're about to walk through the clouds right now. We can feel like mist on our face, which is really nice, but I'm also kind of afraid that it's going to rain because I brought a rain jacket, but my partner didn't. Always underprepared. So now we are properly in the middle of clouds. Like, we can barely see any of the peaks in front of us. There's like a cool mist, but it feels good. We're happy for it. We can hear some neigh-neighs in the distance, and the landscape just got super green. You can see the clouds have broken ahead, and I think that's where we're headed right now. So what was the longest 2.2 miles of our life? We finally made it to Haleakala, the campsite, and then we're going to be walking up and around and over the mountain back to the parking structure. We're still in the clouds, but the terrain has kind of changed again. It's like these smaller black rocks, but a lot of these, like, I don't know what you would call them, ferns? I don't know, it just more looks like prairie than the greenery we had before. We're not sure when we're gonna start climbing again up in altitude, but we're assuming it's coming soon. So we were just walking through all of this grassland area, and we're like, when is this going to end? When do we start going up? Where is even the mountain? It just felt like we were going further and further into the fields until the mountain appeared behind it. And look where we get to start going uphill. But this is crazy here. Just going through this gate. There's these gigantic ferns here. It's raining on us the whole time, just through the clouds. There's the mountain. And we're starting the incline. So now, you can see we've already gained some elevation. We're walking literally around this mountain that I'm hoping ends up there. But I'm not exactly optimistic about that. But so far the path has been really good. The cloud feels nice and cool. Here's to hoping. So, we thought, actually, that this was going to be a lot harder than it is. Well, knock on wood because we're not finished yet. But we're walking up and the walk isn't necessarily that steep. And we just took a look at the map and it says that it's only about 1,000-foot incline, which is only like 300 meters. I don't want to say that this is like very little, I guess, but in comparison to some of the other hikes that we've done, and our expectation going into this, probably should have done research better. It's not actually that bad. So, we're just in the final stretch. Just walking on this gravel road. Have about a half of a mile left. I'm so glad that we did this trail, but I'm also very glad we're finished. The last part was very brutal, not because of the incline or anything, mostly because we didn't know when it was going to end. Andreas is finished too. But overall, a really amazing hike. So many diverse landscapes that we saw. Wind changes. How dark.